in the process of making some very nice, low yielding second cut alfalfa. Gotta drive a lot farther, or maybe drive a little bit faster. But everything I've made so far, which I only got about 15 bales out, has turned out really nice. The only issue I've had so far is a bunch of my teeth in the pickup decided to fall out. They didn't fall out, they broke. And they commenced to do it right when the baler was getting ready to wrap. And I thought the baler was falling apart. Tyson, how is it going? I know you're in the process of getting some hay made. So far for us this year, it's just been a never-ending process. It seems like we always got something needing to be made yet. But at least, I guess we can say that we don't have to worry about the cattle going hungry this year. And I'm actually seeing the first of a little bit of our corn that's actually rolled up a little bit for being too dry. I'm really not going to worry about it too much though. The crops compared to what they look like today, compared to what they looked like a month ago, night and day difference. Hopefully we get these all picked up tomorrow. Yes, I'm baling hay. And Tyson is too. How's the yields going for you up there, Tyson? Yeah, in that regard, it's always one extreme to the next. You're either wishing it would quit raining or wishing it would start. Oh, we're just kind of working on the list of things that need to get done. It's a never-ending list that, you know, everything keeps getting added to it a little at a time. And no equipment purchases coming up immediately, no. Missouri still making first crop? Well, we got all of our first crop done, and we're over halfway done with our second crop, alfalfa. If you want to say first cut grass, or only cut grass, like our waterways, you bought a round bale mover. What'd you get? There's a bunch of waterways, like everything behind you right now, that when things slow down, it's not a huge priority I got that I want to go through and make them, because honestly making them once a year is enough. Just the amount of turning around and backing up, and I mean, just down here alone, I can't remember what it is, if it's, but this usually, the waterways down here, if you take one cutting off of them, it's usually about 30 bales. 30 bales of waterway grass is worth it. It really is. So I'm in the 8235, and the 569 is of course being pulled behind it. The grass down at the valley is actually fairly heavy. Kind of interested to see how that actually performs. The bottom itself, won't be making that for a little while yet. I still plan on making it. The river backed up from all that rain that they got, you know, away from here, and it's just basically trickling down river. And the river backed up, which I'm grateful for, that all it did was back up, that we're not dealing with flooding, you know, like flash flooding, because there was no current with it when it backed up. Really doesn't do much damage. The issue that I worry about is how long it's going to take for the ground to dry back out, because from what I've seen down across the bottom, it's the equivalent of there being a puddle across it. It's not very deep, but there's just like, there's a little bit of water. All of my grass that's there, it's like rice. Think of it like rice. It almost looks like a rice crop down there where there's not a lot of water, but my reed canary, I mean, that was over my head before the rain even, or the water was able to back up. So 90+% of the plant is out of water at least. So, well, that's a lot of it too. Last year we made the waterways down here, and we were dry last year. I was even feeding my parents' cattle, which I don't. It's very uncommon to be feeding cattle down here throughout the summer. And I was putting bales in down here August 1st. It might have been mid-July. It might have been closer to the 15th of July. So hi to everybody that is saying hi and I haven't had a chance to. Pat, it's nice seeing you. What was I starting to say? But the waterway bales we made last year, they were actually what got us through the summer, and then we were able to feed more of the alfalfa throughout the year, or throughout the winter. Hi, Renee. Scotland. You guys are that cold over there? You see, I get a lot of flack for, I usually wear a sweatshirt. I'm usually always wearing those blue sweatshirts. And to be honest with you, I prefer wearing a sweatshirt. I wear them basically year round. Even in the 70s, I'm comfortable enough. I really don't feel the need not to wear it. It's when you get up, we're high 80s right now, and I like them just because it does kind of protects my arms a little bit for when I'm working on stuff, because I was laying out on the ground in this alfalfa stubble and I actually tore my arm up. So I had to take the pickup, a bunch of the bands off the pickup, because some of the teeth fell out, broke out, and they were stuck up in the pickup and made pretty nasty racket. So I'm not halfway done with everything I had to bale today. But we're still not even halfway through the month of June, or July. And I think we're sitting all right on getting the hay made. As far as the second crop alfalfa goes, we got maybe one more round of cutting to get second crop done, and whatever we end up making the valley and waterways, because I have a bunch of waterways that I haven't made myself in ever, and I'm planning on making them, largely just because feed is feed, and if I don't spin around and ship it, I'd rather be sitting on a bunch of hay. I know my cows would appreciate it. How many bales have I done so far? I'm at 21. That was 21. I'm figuring it'll be, well, probably about 45 once a month. Well, it'll be more than that, because I have a bunch of grass waterways to make, and those will yield really well. Right now I'm just focusing on the alfalfa here, then I'll have the waterways, and then that'll be all I have to bale for my dad, and then all I got is 7 acres for myself. And do small grain in the future. We actually got away from small grains because they're really not that much fun to raise. Wheat is a crop that's starting to show up a little bit more in this area. I'm really not sure why. I don't know if it's more of a management thing, if they need somewhere to go with manure during the summer, or they just want to get away from doing corn, beans, or alfalfa. It's hard to say. Maybe honestly they just want the bedding, the wheat straw. So, not sure. 450 bales so far. How much more do you have left to bale up then, Tyson? Oops. And say I'm looking, for myself, if I would like to get up that 700-800 bale area. But here's the thing, how many cattle are out there in the country? Because I keep hearing that, it's the smallest cow herd in 70 years now. So making a whole bunch of feed to sell, having a bunch of round bales potentially sell, and then having no cattle out there that need it. So that sounds like fun too. Say, give me a break here. The text is like really small. Not even being 20% done and having 450 bales down, I'd say you're sitting really good. How do you like that Deere baler? Trying to decide between a Deere, Vermeer, or New Holland. New Holland doesn't even hit my radar. I like Deere. I'm more biased, I guess. I've ran a 535, a 566, and then we still have the 566. It's more of a backup secondary machine, but now we have the 569. This is the go-to. Even with having 10,000 bales on it when we got it, I've done a bunch of maintenance to it. And I love this baler. This has been the most flawless running baler I've ran yet. Yeah, I really never have any issues with net wrap. Hey Dale. Hope you're not too busy, maybe the first part of the week, because we have some rounds, we'll hopefully have some rounds that need to be hauled in a hurry. And see, and I've said this in the past, I would still, if I upgraded to a 560, I'd probably really look at getting a 560R. The equivalent to like a 569 premium, just built a little bit heavier. And for the hay and the corn fodder that we make, I would rather go heavier. I really would. I clean both of them if we run them both. But at the end of the day, I like hitting them with the air hose and then throwing some grease on them. That's what I'll do tonight before I'm done for the day. But I always say built a little bit heavier is better than built just enough. And I know I'm getting Renee, crop loss in your area, all the rain and flooding around us. There's been a lot of fields half empty. I'm hearing that. I do know of one field. It's prevent plan, I'm assuming. It still has water across it, where normally it's cornfield. So all that flooding that you saw out west did, trickle down, and it affected us down here too. Me, not quite so much, because yes, the bottom is flooded, but it's not flooded. I'm 3 farms up from the river, if you want to say it's actual farms. I'm a ways back from the river that it's not as severe as it is right next to the Mississippi. And I've done this in the past. I've had to deal with it in the past, where I've made first crop off the bottom in August before. And I don't really think you're going to get me too overly convinced to go down and put a bunch of fertilizer down on it, but if I can go through and get first crop made off of it yet, and honestly, this is my logic, all that flooding backing up onto the bottom, well, how much nitrogen and everybody else's fertilizer is in that water? And I just got some low-key free fertilizer for the valley. Well, you can't tell me that's not a real thing, because last year when we had all that flooding in March, it was halfway up that hillside, and you could see right to the line where the water was, because the grass was greener and taller. And also, thank you, Pat. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna say I'm just a struggling farmer. I'm trying to keep up with the YouTube videos. What would you guys say if I have a watermelon contest to see how bad we could break up some watermelons? Because I see there's some for sale locally, and it's really tempting to maybe go pick them up and see what we can do with them. But again, thank you, Pat. I really appreciate that. But you know, I have to do a lot of swerving because these windrows are not very thick. The moisture, hurricane went through and all that, you guys know, right? Well, we were in a wet pattern where they were literally calling for rain basically every day, every other day. That hurricane came through, and my self-proclaimed meteorologist buddy says that disrupted the weather pattern enough where it kind of shoved the fronts away to what was, you know, giving us that constant rain. So now we're looking at, well, the current forecast is completely dry, which is great for me to a certain degree because it will hopefully get the bottom dried out. The rest of the farm, I'm hoping to have that done before too long. Well, there you go. Ron Larson's got a great idea. I'll do a video on busting up some watermelons, and then we'll go take the watermelons, we'll feed them to my cows. You think they'll love me for that? I'm gonna say the calves are on creep feed, which I haven't even shown you guys yet. I can't hardly keep grain in front of them. They are little monsters, which is good. I'm glad to see that they're liking it, but it's whole corn, oats, and protein, and they've been getting it now for a month. And Brittany went and did chores for me last night, and she's just like, I put 2 buckets in for the calves. They were out. They'll be good for a while. Okay. Well, she's like, well, they were all standing there waiting for me. Fair enough. Because when I say creep feed, I fill the feed bunk. I put like 10 buckets in, and I try to have feed in front of them 100% of the time. So in an hour and 15 minutes it took me to get back to the farm from when Brittany said that she put bales in. They had those 2 buckets completely licked up and gone. So I threw 2 more buckets in when I got home. Those were gone this morning. And Dad and I went through and we filled it up this morning. That'll give us, you know, 2 or 3 days. Did a lot of, well, you guys saw I was cultivating. I didn't know I was planning on doing that. I just kind of fell into my lap. The crops have made a huge 180. To be honest with you, the crops looked absolutely horrid a month ago. 1,000%. They were yellow. I mean, all that rain was not helping our roots. And it's definitely showing that the nitrogen has finally made it into the plants for how the plants have proved up. we're still talking cows, I like the red and black white faces. To each their own. That's largely my opinion. It's your own personal preference. I do. I like Red Angus. I liked them ever since I was a kid. When my parents bought me a bunch, they bought me 7 heifers, and the drought hit and life went upside down, and I had to sell them, which was terrible. And then Herschel and Myrna sent me some startup cash to go buy a few more. So I did. That was a result of me buying 15 more on top of the 2 that I had already had. And then last year I went and bought another 30. I will give credit where credit is due. The cow that I have that actually throws the beefiest, nicest looking steer that I got is actually that Charlet with the horns. Her calves for 2 years now have been just wicked awesome. Just beautiful calves. And I have some calves that are stunted, where they're tiny, where they're out of first calf heifers, and I think they ran out of milk. And they are coming out of it because they are getting the grain, and even the calves that I was giving milk to, they are doing quite well. Do you still have the cow from Grandpa's herd? Yes, I do. I have the cow from Grandpa's herd. I have finally the heifer out of her. It's a red heifer. I call her Darla. She was the one that I pulled out and panicked on last year because she calved. Well, she had her right next to the barbed wire fence. The Darla had clearly struggled to get up, so she slid underneath the barbed wire fence. It was about 10 feet from the fence. Cold and wet when I found her. Took her up to the barn, put her under a heat lamp, drenched her with a bunch of milk. I didn't have any colostrum. I have a whole backlog of colostrum now because I got a couple calves this year where I know that the only reason they're alive is because I was able to tube them with colostrum. But she's doing good. I'm hoping to get a calf out of her. I'm not looking to have 30 or 40 head out of that one line of genetics, but honestly, if I could have 7 or 10 just to kind of keep Grandpa around, I'd be happy with that. The cow that I bought from my grandpa, from his estate, and she had to go to the sales barn to buy her, and I actually called my cattle buyer up, and I'm like, hey, here's my budget. It's non-existent, but I would really, really, really appreciate it if you could keep an eye out and buy her for me. I had no belief that he was actually going to be able to get her purchased, and I ended up getting her bought for $600, which even he couldn't believe it. So he was actually really proud. I was extremely grateful to him. It's just one of those things where, in the grand scheme of things, has it really done lots and lots to my cattle herd buying her? No. But it's just nice knowing that it's Grandma and Grandpa. That Grandma and Grandpa are still kind of involved with the cows that are being run around here. So I like that. And Darla, she was bottle fed. She used to like me. She got pink eye. And to treat her pink eye, I had to walk up to her and I had to give her 5 shots of LA because I was going to make sure that she was going to clear up of it. I did that last summer and she's hated me ever since. So, you can't help it. but it's fine. Darla's, she's doing good. She's in with one of my calving ease bulls. She was given the MGA. Be preg checking her to see if she's pregnant this fall. I gave up on my fall herd. I have one cow bred for this fall, but other than that, gonna plan on switching to just doing the MGA, synchronizing them, putting an abundance of bulls in with everybody, and just trying to get everybody bred for the spring. Make my life a little bit easier. I would really prefer having spring cabbers anyway. And I've had two issues with pink eye so far, but we are pushing the mineral. The mineral is actually treated with a product to help reduce the amount of fly pressure that you have. I think it helps. I don't think it's a fix-all, but to be fair, I haven't really seen much for pink eye as compared to years in the past, because I've had issues in the past where I was treating one a week there. Used to have the wound and pink eye spray, but the government banned that here. You know, and as crazy as this sounds, if you can get up close to them, which honestly, now that I think about it, is probably another reason why Darla hated me, is because I gave her the LA shots, but then another thing I would do is penicillin. Just regular old penicillin and squirt that in their eye. Worked great. So I'm just grateful not having to deal with much pink eye yet. No, Tyson talks about buying a hay wagon or hay hauler. I'm not sure. He said a hay wagon of some sort. I'd love to go buy one of those 30-foot JBM wagons, but watching my dollar signs right now. So a round bale mover. It all depends on the farmer. Because I could say I got, oh, there you go, hauls 12 bales. Is that a self-loading round bale mover? I guess is the question I need to ask. Because I think the self-loaders would be pretty neat. I always thought that the self-loaders would really shine down at the valley, especially if I don't have the help to haul it, where I could have just two of us, you know, have somebody in the hauler going and picking bales up and then bringing them back to the buildings, and I can stack them with the Bobcat. Oh, we got a runner! Oh, it's still going too. Okay, we're good. You laugh, but I was bailing for my buddy there, and I rolled one of his bales down to the tree line. It stopped before it hit the fence, so I figured it was good. Well, on the other side of the farm, yeah, didn't find it till the next day. I dropped the bale out, went down across the cornfield and about 30 feet in with the cows. Oh well, I can't win them all. But these are some really pretty bales. I'm only wrapping them, I'm only hitting them twice. 2.1 turns. Seems like it might be a little bit heavier, but everything that I'm baling is going inside. Or at least that's the intentions, it's going inside. So I just as soon say lighter the better, and let the tin worry about keeping the bales dry. With the current weather forecast, I keep getting threatened with chance of rain tomorrow. And my brother just called and said that, well, the current forecast looks the same as it did yesterday when we were cutting down the valley. And again, like even doing that kind of fell in my lap. I wasn't planning on cutting the valley yesterday. So, excuse me. I'm hoping we actually go a week, maybe 2 weeks without much of any rain. Let the crops do their thing. They are starting to tassel, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that quite so loud, and hope for some showers. But actually having the whole month of June was wet, and that really wears away on your mental health too. It's saying these balers, imagine the 560s are, you know, imagine they sit just as high as my 569, but it's got the big flotation tires on it. So when the bales fall out of the back of this thing with momentum. And the first year I was running this, we got contours, we got hills, and it took me a little bit of, well, it took a few bales running away from me to finally get it figured out. I had to treat it a little bit differently than the 566, because that has less clearance, and usually on the 566 you open the end gate up, they drop out, and then they stop, unless you're on, you know, you're pointing downhill or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've lost bales taking off on the 566 too. Oh. But I just hit 10 right now. Andre and Britt and Peanut Butter Boy, how's it going? Just say, make sure you hit the little bell on the videos. Make sure you like every video. Even commenting a simple thumbs up or a hi, or it helps. I'm not a bus driver, no. Some of the equipment I'm running, maybe feels like I'm driving a bus, but no, I'm not a bus driver. Oh. Truck driver. I'm not even a truck driver. Really don't. Ryan drives a truck. I mean to learn, but that's one job that I just really don't have a whole lot of desire to do yet. And we are getting later, aren't we? $74 reviews and only 50 likes. I think we got some slackers here. Oh, that actually is a good point. As far as the weather goes in June, there's something I should ask people. What's a tool that has always kind of been around but was never really seen that popular, but it seems like it's taking off in recent years? Tedder. Quite honestly, starting to see tedders. More people are starting to ask about them. More people are starting to get them on the farm. Even my friend hasn't had a tedder his whole life, and he's asking me the different ins and outs on it, if it's worth it. They're worth it. The only thing is, you got to kind of manage for using it. Well, because we haven't actually had to ted much of my dad's stuff for the last 3 years, and we tedded a bunch of my dad's, my brother's, and I have one guy that I custom bale for, and I actually went and tedded all of his stuff out, and he said the same thing, because he's never seen any of his stuff tedded out before, and he said the same thing, that he couldn't believe how much it dried out just in 24 hours. And another thing we need too is honestly more heat. The sun really doesn't seem like it's getting down to the ground as efficiently as you'd like it to be. What's that, Renee? Hay testers. Seems like you could better time with a big one. Hay testers. I never used to have like the moisture testers for our hay. Never even bothered testing hay until within the last 5 years. Yes, hay tedders will knock the leaves off of the alfalfa. And what I was always told when it comes to the hay tedding for alfalfa is either tedding it immediately after you cut it, so you have somebody in the field with you as you're cutting the hay. They're tedding it out, so the alfalfa is still fairly wet yet. You're not as likely to kick all the leaves off, or go out early the next morning with a heavy dew, and when you ted it then, it does help with leaf loss. Or you can do like my brother does and just cut it and wrap it. I'm actually kind of enjoying all the random spam comments. All it does is help the visibility on the channel. Turns out the radio still works. Wearing my sunglasses? Okay. I'm not really a big fan of sunglasses, to be honest. It hurt my eyes. I've worn different style shades and all that stuff. Every once in a great while I'll wear them, but never was a big fan of them. My friend, he actually wears shades during the day, like the really dark, deep shades, because the way his eyes are, something about in his eyes, what's the medical term? He said that his eyes don't open and shut internally to actually block out the sun. So he's actually more blind during the day, and then at night he's like, I can actually see better at night than I can during the day, because you see him running around and he's got dang near welding goggles on, or the deep shade welding goggles on. Keep spamming them comments, bud. Any of my regular viewers don't read too much into the idiot comments. A lot of us making hay this year has been kind of like a last minute panic, because normally you're able to look at the weather forecast and go, all right, I'm calling for 2 days of rain, then we can go out and run. Okay. They're actually calling for rain today and yesterday, and we ended up cutting about 80 acres of hay yesterday, and it seems like anybody that had any standing hay in the area was out gutting. But this is actually our first decent made stuff that is actually, I would actually label as dry. We actually get it inside and not worry about it burning. Because on our first crop, goes against everything that you're supposed to do and everything I've been taught. But on our first crop hay, I I baled every single time that I baled this spring. It was sprinkling or raining. So I'm not too worried about that. We do wrap a bunch of our hay. My brother's sitting really good on hay. As a matter of fact, you know, all the rain, you're going to have good tonnage. Last year, going throughout the summer, he was worried about feed, and only his second cut is the stuff that we got to make yet, and he's actually sitting pretty comfortably as far as feed going into this winter, and his intentions are to make everything that we can. Hi, Sean. I'll tell you what, I'm going to sit down and watch a bunch of Northern Farmers videos tonight, because to be completely honest, I get home at night and I don't see 9 o'clock. If I'm assuming I'm home at 9 o'clock, I hit the chair and I'm out. Or the joys of, you know, being a dad. My kids take over the big TV and I'm stuck watching my cell phone. But no, I've been trying to keep up with Tyson's videos. I was waiting for more haymaking videos though. But no, tell Sean hi. I haven't heard or seen any of you guys in a little bit of a while. Let's drop this without sending it down over the hill. Dad isn't retired yet, no. You know, and for the dew being as heavy as it was this morning, I'm really surprised at how dusty it is now. Well, the problem, Tyson, when's the sun go down for you? Because that's something to keep in mind too. I mean, when your sun doesn't go down until midnight, it's easier to work later. Yeah, see, that's my idea. Hey, Becky. How am I going to say that? The valley has water on it, but I don't have anything that's underwater. So, I'm great. Melbourne, Australia. That's actually going pretty good. I mean, it sounds crazy to say it, but the lack of rain has been refreshing. You know, it's not quite all doom and gloom. How's Australia going this time of year? I mean, are you guys in your winter, right? And I say it's always behind me. Yeah, that's corn. I'm in one of the waterways right now. It's only 10:48. Oh, that's when the sun sets. In regards to chopping silage, we talk about it off and on. My brother and I were just discussing it the other day, and Ryan has said that too. Where would we be, like, with first crop getting it done, if we were going through and chopping like we were when we were milking cows? And honestly, my own personal take on it is, if, big if, I know, we were chopping, we were putting it in a silo. If we did go that route, I'd be looking at doing it with the chopper, somebody running the chopper, because it'd be pull type. I mean, we're not a huge operation here, but I could see Dad running the chopper and then Ryan and I hauling in and just running 3 chopper boxes, and I think we'd do all right. I mean, to be honest, I really don't want to chop much alfalfa. Chopping corn, I think, would be all right, but I have a hard time bringing myself to want to chop corn silage. I know it's amazing feed. I'm gonna do this without jackbait. Round bailing. I know I don't have the camera turned towards you, but I actually burned up my GoPro. I have that Hero 8. I was talking to that last night, and it actually shut off on me and said the camera got too hot. I've never had a GoPro do that before. Just put away 67 7-foot big squares off 20 acres second crop. That's good. Chopping oats. If you were going to chop oats, you would have done that 3 weeks ago. I just don't have much desire for doing silage bags either. But to be fair, our only silo that I could see us putting anything in would probably need $100,000 worth of repairs on it, maintenance, and then a feeding system of sorts so we could feed. Which at the same time wouldn't be the end of the world, because if it was up to me, I really wouldn't mind going back to a feeding system. I mean, it'd be easier to manage some of these cows, especially when I'm feeding cows like I know, like year round. Let's see. How the dogs doing? The dogs are doing really good. I don't have a dog in the tractor with me, you know, Calvin. He actually bolted for the porch because it's hot out, and I had him outside all morning, and I was walking to get into the 82 because it was sitting in the yard. He blew right past the 82 and then went and stood by the porch door, because the porch at the home farm is air conditioned. Well, it's heated and air conditioned. It's hooked up to the rest of the house, and he's camped out in the porch, probably laying on his back, tongue out, drooling. Oh well, he's a good puppy though. He's been an outside dog here for the last 2 or 3 months because he's been doing a really good job at staying filthy. And I can only win that argument so many times with my wife. My wife getting tired of him coming into the house and being disgusting. Super big loads, super B loads of oats. Does that mean you baled your oats, Tyson, or I guess I'm missing that? Or you're selling oats at grain? We haven't done oats for grain since Grandpa was around, so 2013 was the last year that we did oats. Probably would have been a lot better off doing the oats if Grandpa would let us spray for weeds. My grandpa, he wasn't a very big proponent on spraying the ragweeds in our oats, and that just made it a nightmare, because then you're dealing with all the extra weeds, and your oats won't dry because we direct cut. We've been kind of watching the auction, because you'll see a couple random loads show up for sale, like a gravity box load, and it's tempting to go buy a gravity box load and have a bunch of oats to feed calves or whatever else. So honestly, I probably should be keeping an eye on that. Charlie's definitely a house dog. He gets, yeah. Well, that's the problem. Dogs are no different than any other animal. It's got a hair coat. They can't take that hair off like a jacket. Make sure you like the live stream, guys. I just lost a like. Sheesh. People don't like talking about the dogs, I guess. And say, tune in to listen to me not talk about politics. 425 a bushel. That actually sounds pretty good. The last load of oats I heard sell locally, it was like 350, 325 a bushel. And getting 100 or 200 bushel and dumping in that bulk bin at the home farm sounds really tempting. Really enjoy the lives. Oh, the live streams. Oh, I don't know if I can do a video, another live stream making dinner with Britt. I could try. Problem is, it's usually one of us making supper and the other one is playing referee for the kids. They don't like dogs. Isn't there a movie called that? Gotta Love Dogs? No, we spoil our dogs. Corn and soybeans are growing good. Yeah, they are. They really took off. We are just starting to see some tassels. Extremely grateful for that. I'm still in the camp where, you know, I'd be okay with seeing tassels the 1st of July. But even in the last week or so, sunlight and heat. Sunlight and heat, I think is what we were really missing, because it really jump-started these crops. I mean, I at least feel better about our yield prospects than I did a month ago. Even planting, put in a lot of stupid long hours getting the corn and beans in. I know I say it and it really isn't that impressive, but like with our beans, I don't feel like we mudded in anything, and our goal was to have all of our soybeans in before the 1st of May. So we only had a window of a couple days, the 25th of April. And Ryan and I, Dad, we all pretty well agreed. We want to get the beans in. So I started in, I don't know what time I did, but started in, and I didn't plan on planting 100% of the beans we had. We're talking a few hundred acres, and from the time I started the 79, it didn't shut off for 52 hours, and we planted straight through. I'm going to change up my seeding depth. I've been putting soybeans in at 1.5 inches. I'm going to drop that down another 1/4 inch or so, or raise it up 1/4 inch. Dealing with crusting, and I don't really feel like crusting should be an issue. Personally, I think soybeans need to be in the ground just deep enough so that they're in moisture and that they germinate. That's what I honestly think that's all they need. So, looking to change that up next year. My no-till beans, everybody's no-till beans, are just seem like they're growing slow. It's not just us. It's from what I've gathered talking to the local agronomists. So I've talked to more than one, and we're all in the agreement. What it is it's the residue, no-tilling the beans in, and especially putting it in April. The ground just didn't warm up that fast or fast enough. So stunted them, but I went and just randomly, haphazardly grabbed a plant from that field of mine over there, and for only being like yay tall, it's branched out. It had like 10 branches on it, and it was just covered in flowers. So I'm perfectly fine if the plants aren't very big, because the plants aren't very tall. It means they're less likely to lodge. It means they'll be easier and a lot more fun to harvest, and hopefully get that 80 bushels to the acre on it. Unlikely. But the last time I had beans on that field, it was hitting 82, 85 bushels to the acre. So I also variable planted the beans on that one. Oh, let's see. Sounds like good harvest time will be coming. Is the combine ready? No, the combine's not ready. How dare you bring that up? The corn planter is put away and for the most part gone through. It'll have a little bit of maintenance we'll do to it when we pull it back out, but I'm comfortable with how the planter is sitting right now. The combine, we need to put a new clean grain conveyor chain on it, the vertical chain, and the whole machine just needs to be gone through. I don't think it needs much major other than grease and oil and the bubble up auger. I gotta go check that again. Actually, now you say that. The bubble up auger is getting more. Oh, but I guess that sounds crazy too. I'm not really looking forward to harvest. Harvest can take its sweet old time to get here because it's July and I feel like I haven't had a chance to even enjoy my summer yet. Pulling the combine out, I'll probably do it mid to late August. I like pulling it out in August so we have time to work on it. I don't like pulling anything out until a week before we need it. That's not a whole lot of fun either. And here's the problem too. I'm covering a lot of acres. I'm just not getting a whole lot of hay. The waterways, I'll probably get 5 to 10 bales just off the waterways. That'll put me about 25 here. Yeah, that's what it is. As far as the wildlife goes, the amount of deer that we were chasing out down the valley is kind of alarming. I hope we didn't hit any because we've ran fawn through the mowers before. And I don't really like doing that. Did hit a skunk yesterday though. If we didn't hit him, he let us know very well that he was there. I had Calvin riding with me, the dog, and I'm pretty sure we both were trying to cover our nose when that hit us because I'm pretty sure it hit the tractor point blank. And it took a good half hour for it to finally go away. Don't miss the 9510. I respect the 9510. It got us through a lot of rough harvest seasons. It didn't exactly have an easy life working for us either. I mean, we put it to work, but I have a hard time getting rid of the 9770 right now. I'm fully in the camp of keeping the 9770 for 10 years. I'll see you later, Tyson. And say I'll get caught up in your videos here. I like watching your haymaking videos. Make sure you do a video on your hay mover. Because I'm actually probably gonna have to join you if I start doing these waterways or not. See how much I can do without losing focus. Yeah, I apologize. Can't really read the comments. So, honestly, I think I'm going to stay true to form. I guess we are going up on an hour. Or that is an hour. Okay. Well, I do have a couple videos I'm working on. I'm not sure when I should post the next one. Make sure you hit the little bell and all that. like the videos and hit the notifications, because that's the only way you're really going to know if my videos are uploading. Because I actually had one go out at like 2 in the afternoon once, and that sure wasn't supposed to happen. So, a lot of my viewers are the people who like to sit and listen to me talk. I don't have a whole lot that's interesting or unique equipment-wise as far as doing the glamour shots. A lot of my long-term viewers know I just like talking to everybody. Are you going to put wheel weights on the 4020? No. I'm not a big proponent of putting anything like that on the 4020. I was spinning it out when I was cultivating. When I was cultivating the first stuff, I had it set probably too deep. 5th gear at 1500 RPMs, and I was doing all right. But when I had the cultivator full of liquid and going up some of those hills, like coming out of the waterway, and then when you're actually going through the waterway and then you start going up or on an incline, you drop that cultivator down, that digs in, and I've had to hit the diff lock to keep the tractor moving. I pulled those tines off the front. I think that will help me a lot better going forward as far as keeping my rows. I'm not really trying to get rid of weeds anymore when I cultivate. Granted, I'm usually moving enough dirt with that back row. Usually I have it set so it's rolling the dirt over against the rows. It's doing a pretty good job at knocking out some of that stuff. So, and grass hay for the win, because these windrows are a lot bigger. Let's see here. My only downside is I do not like doing waterways with the 82. I would actually prefer using the 76 and the 566 because I have a rear view camera on it. That is probably one of the bigger things I miss on this setup. I don't have a camera in the cab. For going down the road and seeing if anybody's behind me is a nice perk. But it is nice seeing what the bales look like behind me. Granted, I don't worry too much about bales not being wrapped. I think that's fair. I think we need to end the video anyway. I'll let the video upload so you guys can watch it. Last comment. Chris, are you guys sitting comfortable on hay so far? Yeah. First crop yielded well. Didn't like that we were struggling to get it dry enough to put it inside, but everything that we made first crop, we let it air out, and we are going to stick a bunch of it inside along with the second cut and third cut. The goal is to have that hay shed at my place completely full. So it's what it is. I can do more videos like this going forward. It's just I've been too preoccupied with everything else. So thanks for watching. Like I said, like, comment, support the channel, subscribe. I'm surprised Brittany isn't watching. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for everybody that tuned in.